when somebody says last year was last year, I understand that as an athlete. Last year was a different team, but there's been a consistent theme.
Absolutely.
Right? And my thing is, like, you can't just compartmentalize those two key and separate them like, oh, this, and that's what he just did right there.
They're asking him about it because they had a lot of penalties at the half.
That's what I'm saying.
He's got it.
Like, you can't just compartmentalize them and say, well, no, this is a consistent theme that we need to clean up. And if we don't clean up, we're going to have problems. Like, you have to address it head on.
They certainly got to fix it, no question about it. Last year was last year, but like you said, Jay, it's a carryover.
Yeah.
And if it continues, they'll be looking on the outside. Right, they'll be trying to scrap to get a playoff spot, and it'll come back to hunt them in situations. Well, we need to convert on this particular down in a must-win game, and a guy false starts, or holds, or roughing the passer, or illegally holding, or whatever goes on that causes those penalties. If he doesn't nip it in the bud and stop it now.
So do you think it's already at the point where McCarthy has to take a made guy and whack him?
Not yet. No, it's first preseason game.
Can I tell you guys something, though?
But if it continues
before the regular season starts,
it could be a regular season. You can whack the dude.
What if we get to 5 games and we're talking about this team is 2-3, like 1-4? Look,
well, if they 1-4, but if they 1-4, Jay, and it's because of the penalties, that's different.
That's what I'm saying. All right, so you play your opener home against the Bucs.
Yeah, they could beat those guys.
Or they could lose.
Then you're at home against the Bengals.
So far, you could be 0-2 and no penalty problem, and you could still be 0-2.
At home.
Yeah.
Then you got at Giants, which is
they should win that game, but still,
they'll probably win.
Commanders at home, and then at Rams.
Game.
At Rams and at Eagles.
So let's put it this way:
at
if
Rams
they're
and
2-2
for 6 games.
So let's say they're 2-2.
I'm just saying.
Hold up, Jay. I'll go with your scenario.
Games are really challenging and tough.
Key, let's go with Jay's scenario. They're 2-3. Heading into week 6, they got the Eagles now. And because of penalties, they lose a close game against the Eagles. What happens to Mike McCarthy?
So you're 2-4 now?
Now you're 2-4.
Nothing's going to happen to him. It's just going to get hot. But they're not
going to.
But Jerry doesn't fire coaches
mid-season. Yeah. So how
doesn't.
much does Sean Payton factor into all this? The fact that he's hanging out there.
Sean Payton's situation is such that that probably has moved on because there's other options.
The Miami talk and everything.
Like Charger talk, the Miami talk. So if if you told me 3 years ago, 4 years ago that Sean Payton was a viable option, it's viable, but it's that way. The reason I say this is because the one person that a lot of us kind of lean on in certain situations is Bill Parcells. Sean leans on Bill in certain situations. Kind of think the same, act the same, Bill couldn't take Jerry being around the building and running the situation and handling it. And I doubt it very seriously that Sean would want to do that because he wants full control.
And this is the problem.
He wants full control.
If Cowboys fans want to know why y'all haven't won a Super Bowl in quarter century, it's because you had Jimmy Johnson. Jerry Jones couldn't take the ego, ran him off. You had Bill Parcells. Jerry Jones couldn't take the ego, ran him off, essentially. And that's why when a guy like Sean Payton's available, you wind up with Mike McCarthy.
Can I ask you, in the offseason, who did Jerry Jones prioritize to make sure that he stayed on his staff?
Kellen Moore.
Yeah.
Kellen Moore and who else?
Oh, Dan Quinn.
The coordinators.
Dan Quinn.
Yep.
I feel like Dan Quinn is next up.
That's what the buzz is. He'll be next up.
Dan Quinn is sitting right there.
Well, that's probably
understands all the
Dan Quinn's a
scheming.
good coach.
The defense has gotten better, has head coaching experience. Jerry Jones has prioritized him in this offseason. He's next up.
If you ask me I'm getting into Max Kellerman's territory, but that's okay. We got a couple minutes. If you ask me, Max, of the 3 jobs that could potentially become available,
Chargers.
The Chargers is the number 1 job.
Hell yeah.
It's the number, and it's not because of Justin Herbert.
Oh, that's a big reason.
But it is because of Justin Herbert.
Yeah.
That would be the number 1 job, even though you got Dak Prescott. That's just because you have an owner who's a general manager who, for whatever reasons, he's always around, always doing something.
Y'all cold-blooded, man. Y'all trying to get rid of Brandon Staley in his second year.
No, I'm not trying to get rid of Brandon.
We're just saying which is the most attractive job if it's available.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.